All right. Hello, everybody. It's me, X344, and welcome to certainly a video. It has been an absolute pain to do because after already succeeding at doing this with medium bombs, I decided that was too easy. And also, I ran out of medium bombs, so I need to finish them off with just picking them with like one damage with Hunter, because obviously I don't have Hunter leveled up at all, as you saw. So if you guys have any other challenge ideas in the comments, please tell me. Other than that, here we go. I forgot to turn my audio on. Wanted to do that. Whatever. You guys have to sit with just my commentary then. Try to make it interesting. I guess we go on to just a little bit of, well, the first thing is we recycle topics from various past attempts at doing this, because, I've been here. I've done it maybe about 10 times at this point. Most of them were with medium bombs, but after doing that in like 6 tries, I was like, all right, well, we'll do small bombs. We have medium bombs in the inventory because small bombs, actually even using a full stack of them, is not enough to kill this guy. I'm doing hook only because stick has a dodge button, which would make this way too easy. I wanted to rely on nothing but movement mechanics, and the idea of having any type of benefit just seemed like too much. Also, being a cook guarantees that I will have level 1 stats, so it just felt like the easiest way to do this. It also means that I have stick free for other challenges I want to do in the future, potentially. I don't have any planned, but obviously I'd rather keep it as low as possible, just in preparation for that. The hardest part about this is trying to commentate at this point. I've already done enough attempts to where I could pretty consistently do this for enough time. Hell, if I was doing large bombs, I mean, I would have. If I'm using large bombs, I'm pretty sure I could do this 100% of the time consistent. At this point, with just the few practice attempts I've done with mediums. Actually, I started with large, and I was like, all right, well, I don't feel like restocking on larges because you blow through bombs really fast. Obviously, like the biggest bombs are like double damage of this. Have I mentioned that the lock-on system in this game is a lot worse than the first one due to the no longer having fixed camera angles? It's just should make things a lot harder to deal with, and you just lose your lock-on all the time like that, which is kind of annoying. I don't think they'll patch it, but whatever. Bang. Speaking of which, God, it's so funny seeing people make like money making guides for this game and be like, "Do this before it gets patched," and it's like, no, they're not nerfing money making in this game. It is not. You definitely have not played the first game to realize that. I mean, you don't even need money in this game. I mean, legitimately, I have spent more money on bombs trying this than I have anything else so far. I mean, that might have something to do with the fact that just bombs are unreasonably expensive for how terrible they are. The status bombs in this game are actually pretty good. They kind of sucked in the first game because you could only plant them on the ground. You didn't have the option to throw them like this. So they were pretty much worthless. Also, monsters didn't get stunned after using your special, so it's not even like you could use them for like, in like the Monster Hunter type of way where, screw around with that. Three. I guess that's another thing is just how much I love the skill expression in this game and how it really plays into just the title basically of, this is fantasy life. You aren't playing a strict RPG. You are allowed to fulfill whatever fantasy you have. If you want to, use your skill to achieve anything, you could do it. Uh, Game really does not hold back in terms of what's possible, and I just think that that's really cool. It's definitely my biggest draw. The fact that you can just over level and you have all these gear options and you've got all of these cool mechanics that just it all just has so much depth, and the fact that all of it as is only as necessary as you want it to be is really just what makes this game special and what really defines it as a role-playing game in my mind. And that's something that really bothers me that a lot of role-playing games don't do, where it's you're not role-playing, you are playing as Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. you know I guess Final Fantasy VII is not the best example because the materia system is actually pretty good in that game because it does allow you to kind of customize things to an extent. But I think probably the best example is something like GTA, Assassin's Creed, or I guess more of the newer Final Fantasies like 13 or even 10, where you've long since lost any type of role play aspect to it, and it is now just turn based combat. And I do love those games, but they aren't able to hold the same special place in my heart that this game does. And I think that if you are ever on the fence about this game, I think that's really what you need to think about is just, or that's yeah. I don't really know how to describe. I think by this point I've kind of portrayed what I'm saying. Uh, Talking a lot because it actually, funnily enough, gotten this like measured before, but I do actually focus better when I'm talking. Um, Commentating and actually thinking of topics is one thing, but if I'm just talking about random nonsense, it generally actually relaxes me quite a bit. Uh, Maybe you call that just being extroverted. I'm not really sure. I, I'm not very much a people person. Hell, even in this game, I enjoy the soloist aspect of it. Yeah, that's another thing. Like that, like the fact that they buffed companions and you're still able to do everything by yourself, but it's just having companions allows you to do things better, with the exception of like crafting, where it's like, all right, you know what, I could understand, if you're crafting something and you have just someone just standing next to you, that's not like you're still doing things on your own for the most part. You don't have to have them, do anything other than just add their skill points to the calculation. Yeah, it's just really chill. This is what cozy is to me. I see a lot of stuff talking about cozy games, and I got a lot of flack for the fact that I beat this game, on like the first day. Well, technically, I did it past midnight, but whatever. I did it, day it came out for early access because obviously I am definitely enough of a super fan to where I got the deluxe edition with all of the nonsense with the additions purely just because, I didn't really care too much about whatever benefits I got. I did it because I love this game and I want to support, you know, developers getting as much as they can for something that really has made, I honestly would say, quite a substantial impact on my life. He's going for his tail swap. I guess this is kind of my call to arms or whatever you want to say for it. In terms of, I was pretty well known in the Fantasy Life Amino, which was relatively large for, I think it was actually, at the time of like the first games, like actually being relevant, the largest community for it because, reasons, because the game was pretty underground. So, you know, I got my name there. I got straight up promoted to the leader of the Amino purely on account of it was very obvious that, yeah, I was always going to remain the most dedicated person to this franchise. Oh, did it? Um, and showing off my skills here. I've done plenty of other ridiculous things in the first game, and this is just my start of really showing people, hey, uh, I am that guy.